Some people are very upset today. Not just conservatives, but I got to tell you, right now, my man Nate Silver, 538 guy, probably not having a great day. Oh boy. The most, to me at least, the most shocking upset of the evening would probably be the fact that Bobert ended up losing, despite being given a 97-3. But no. Bobert lost. This is from before the votes were actually completed, but no, she actually lost by a decent margin. So that's cool. It hasn't been called yet. Yeah, but like, is there any way? Hold on. When I checked like 3 hours ago, it was like there's no way, no shot it's over. That's what I thought. Yeah, okay, we'll check, we'll check, we'll check. Hold on. Bobert election. Any more votes been counted since this came out? It is 93% reporting, 1% in the lead for Adam Frisch, and she probably lost because of redistricting. Her previous district lines were deep red, now they're purple. Ah, the power. It's the huge one. The hugest one. This is District 3. It's so big. Oh my Oh my god, it's so big. Only votes left are in blue areas. Listen, let's just say that let's just say that Nate Silver has got some splaining to do. So he'll have fun with that, I assume. In reality, as all of you have probably seen, looking over social media, the red wave did not happen. It is not guaranteed, but reasonably likely that the Democrats will just barely hold on to the Senate. And while it's not, likely, there's still a slim little margin of the Dems keeping the House. I don't expect that to happen. But the fact that it's not completely impossible is a fucking miracle. That's what I'm saying right here. I say 1% chance. 1% chance is a dream. The fact that there is even a 1% chance of Dems holding the House this far in, after all the shit we've seen, that's a goddamn miracle. I don't expect it to happen, though. I expect Red House, narrow blue Senate, which does deny the Republicans complete control over the legislature. How nice is that, huh? We have seen some fairly interesting trends. Obviously, Fetterman won. We opened the stream with that, and he won by a good margin, too. Look at that. 3.4 percentage points? Wow, that's, sheesh, nearly 200,000 votes. It's like, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. One of the things I think it's important to note how remarkable this is that momentum was really not on our side here. First of all, we're experiencing some substantial economic problems at the moment. Also, midterms tend to go really poorly for the incumbent president's party because when economic problems or any problem at all crop up, people blame the president and therefore the party of the president because, again, Americans are, what, chat? Retarded, that's right. So, yeah, that's not good. It's what we are, Me too, hey. But in spite of that, in spite of the fact that momentum really seemed to be swinging against the Dems, Republicans were not able to hold things together. They were not able to achieve that red wave. The largest successes that we've seen from Republicans have been in New York and Florida, and we're going to talk about that. New York Times puts out these wonderful maps where you can see how much the votes in a county have shifted relative to the votes for the president in 2020. So over here in PA, you see the little blue arrows. That means this county voted more blue than it did last time. Here's New York. What happened here? Well, a lot of stuff did. It's kind of complicated. It's got to do with districting. It has to do with the messaging of the Dems here. It's complicated. And when I say it's complicated, what I actually mean is, please let me talk about it extensively in the future when my IQ is back. Right. That's not great. Yeah, New York City mayor's dog shit, party direction, so on. I've said this before, and also I'm always right, so I'll say it again. When Democrats try to crib Republicans, at their game, the whole law and order, we got to be tough on crime, we got to, austerity, we got to knuckle down. If listen, if you teach voters to care about that shit, they're just going to go right for the source. Republicans, okay? You can't give people a little bit of a police state and expect them to just stop with a little bit. That's the problem. It's like a gateway drug, right? It's like opiates to fentanyl. You're giving a little bit of painkiller, then they're doing fentanyl in the alleyway outside of Denny's. You don't want to give them that, so don't. Super dumb. Don't do it. Okay, then explain Florida. Shut the fuck up. We're getting to Florida. Okay, New York. Let's just say I blame the Irish. There we go. Nice. Okay. Um, so the Florida version of this map doesn't actually show red arrows. It actually just shows a deep red Stygian pit from which the greatest creations of Satan will rise in the shape of Florida. Florida's lost, my friends. Florida, a swing state? No. Florida is the new bastion of the Republican Party. Ron DeSantis, the chosen one, the savior of fascism, uh, rising. It is okay. So here's the thing. I talked about this a little bit before. You're gonna have to suffer listening to me repeat myself just a smidge, okay? I've talked before about corporate control, right? To summarize, it's as simply as I am capable right now, okay? Um, in a bourgeois democracy, which is what we live in, political parties, their power, their prominence, are heavily determined by the extent to which they're able to cultivate a positive relationship with business. If you can't get along with businesses, you really don't have a future in a country like this because it represents the overwhelming, total economic power of the most economically powerful country to have ever existed. The Democratic and the Republican parties, respectively, have cultivated a variety of campaign strategies to convince regular working people, I say pointing at myself as though I am one of those, to vote for them when the real agenda is protecting the interests of corporations. Republicans and Democrats do this in different ways. For Democrats, you got this faffy, oh, hope, oh, we're kind, we're decent. Republicans, you have the we actually really hate minorities angle. There's a lot of different ways you can hit it. But at the end of the day, it's a veneer draped over economic austerity and basic business oriented policies, on which the parties have mostly gotten along for a while. So things are diverging a little bit. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. See, you spend decades and decades and decades convincing people to vote against their own interest. You got to come up with harder shit, right? Like, imagine you're the Republican Party. You're a campaign strategist, okay? How do you get a bunch of poor rural people to vote for you when you are just going to fuck them over in the most obvious and blatant way imaginable? Like, you are actively promoting policies that mathematically will screw them over only to the benefit of the ultra wealthy. Well, you got to focus on other stuff, right? Like racism, for example. Blame immigrants. Fearmonger about trans people. Spook them. Maybe billionaires are stealing your paycheck, but at least they're not black. However you're going to come at it with. This is a long-standing strategy, by the way. That whole hey, it's actually the immigrants taking your paycheck, that goes back centuries and centuries. Depending on how you want to define your terms, millennia. It's an old strat. So you give them harder and harder shit. And, I mean, we do live in a democracy, These people that you are campaigning to, they're going to run for office eventually. You give them harder and harder excuses to vote for your austerity policies, and eventually, all of a sudden, the people who you are bringing into your political party are more interested in the excuse than they are the core. Now you get people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Does Marjorie Taylor Greene care that much about corporate profits? I don't think so. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene's strongest opinions have to do with Jewish people, people of color. I don't don't get me wrong, I still think she'd back the businesses. But when it comes to what she really cares about, you know, we've seen this before, haven't we? In a little place called Schmeimar Schmermany. They say I go on too much about Germany, so this is a different place, okay? Austere business interests, economic collapse, the Great Depression. Now, this guy, Schmadolf Schmittler, all right? Popular with some working class folks, it seemed. And he promised a lot of economically oriented reform. Obviously, he LARPed as a socialist for a little bit, or at least social democrat. He lied about all this bullshit, of course. As soon as he attained power, this man defined privatization, defined austerity. War economies do not leave much room for second dinners, I'll say that much. But you get this guy, Schmadolf Schmittler, okay? People like Hindenburg, that was the conservative German president, they thought they could borrow the popularity, the vigor, the energy, the populism of this Schmittler fellow, but that they could rein him in when he was in power. They'll borrow his energy, his vibes, but the underlying systems of capital accumulation and business-oriented politicking would be maintained. They would just be given a little pizzazz. And what the happened after that, huh? What in the goddamn hell happened after that? What we're seeing right now is a late stage resolution of this dialectical process. The process by which the degree of insanity of the leading fascist must be determined. Donald Trump, is he ideologically a fascist? I don't really think so. Ideologically, I think he's a narcissist. I just think he likes people applauding him. He likes crowds. I don't know. Ron DeSantis, I think, is a much more principled, ideological fascist, in the sense that I feel like if Donald Trump fell and hit his head and got up and then wanted to seek approval from others in kind of like a new way, he would start talking about, trans people are the greatest. Boy motors are our greatest asset as Americans. Whatever he'd get applause for. Ron DeSantis, though, this man's got fascism down ideologically, lockstep, and a lot of Trump-backed candidates failed. Boebert seems like she's going to lose. Oz lost. Meanwhile, DeSantis crushed it in Florida. And you've got a lot of people saying, you've got Fox News saying, you've got a lot of conservatives saying, who's the future of the Republican Party? They're saying it's DeSantis. Florida is now the stronghold of the Republican Party. He is the He is the root, the base of the tree. And the reason for that is because he is capable of fronting the fascist politic without as much instability as idiosyncrasy, and without as much, let's be real, Trump is also very old. They want a more stable guy to back. That's what's happening in Florida right now. We're seeing sort of the origin point. We're seeing the tower being built, and the seeds of this conflict have been sown. I tell you, folks, you might think you fear for the future. Imagine being a GOP political strategist right now. You know what they're all thinking? God, they think, I hope to God that Donald Trump trips and hits his head. That's what they're thinking. Because Trump is going to announce at Mar-a-Lago on the 15th, this month, that he's going to be running in 2024. And DeSantis refused to say that he would be serving his entire gubernatorial term, because he's also going to run for 2024. DeSantis and Trump are going to go up against each other. DeSantis is the smarter pick in the long run for the GOP, but Trump will never back down. He will never hand over the keys. And for once, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I mean it fully and sincerely, the longevity of Donald Trump is actually critical anti-fascist action. Because the only possible outcome of a conflict between those two is a disruption of the GOP apparatus. If Donald Trump pops it sometime before that happens, then in his passing, implicitly the keys will be handed over. But if he's around to be a bitch about it, and I hope to God that he is, then there is a very strong potential for high-level political content for the GOP primaries. God, what a time it'll be. What a time. Content homie. That's how I'm feeling. Chris Rufo is basically saying this about DeSantis. No. I'm not joking. Look at literally any conservative on Twitter right now. They're all saying the same thing. The Trump-backed, more like crazy, Republican guys, more openly Trump associated, they didn't do that well these midterms. DeSantis is doing great. I don't know if DeSantis has the charisma to meaningfully lead the party in new wacky directions the way that Trump has. Reportedly, Trump is really pissed right now. Where was that? Somebody was saying, oh, here we go, from Jim Acosta, Is it true? Is it not? I believe Jim. Trump is livid and screaming at everyone after last night's disappointing midterm results for GOP, according to a Trump advisor. The advisor went on to slam the former president's handpicked contenders. They were all bad candidates. Candidates matter, the advisor said. The tendies have gone flying. Ketchup coats the walls. It's all over the place, I am extremely excited to see conflict between those two if it emerges. Watch this Trump clip. I love watching Trump clips.
Well, I think if they win, I should get all the credit. And if they lose, I should not be blamed at all, okay? But it'll probably be just the opposite.
God, I love him. I would have, Trump, I would have said the same thing. I really would have. Incredible. No notes. Me too, bro. Thank you. God almighty. God, getting to watch him rip into DeSantis. Love that. Love that. All right. Well, the conditions have been set there. He's blaming Melania too about Pennsylvania. Oh, I saw that. Oh, I love him. I love him so much. Trump is indeed furious this morning, particularly about Oz, and is blaming everyone who advised him to back Oz, including his wife, describing it as not her best decision, according to people close to him. What a goddamn king, dude. Absolutely. Just throwing it out there. I want him to run. He'll be announcing his run on the 15th. What is that? 6 days from now? Yeah. He will he'll give it his best shot. He can't help himself. Can we fix him? Critical support to the biggest baby in politics. Absolutely. Okay, listen. That's we need to let that pot boil for a bit. That soup isn't ready yet. We'll get to it, okay? Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about white people. No. Yes, actually. Anatomy of a close election. How Americans voted in 2022 versus 2018. So I want to be clear. Okay? The in 2018, Democrats had a sweep in the midterms because Donald Trump had been president for 2 years. And again, normally the party does poorly. The party of the incumbent president does poorly. People were not happy with Trump. We got a huge wave of people in the House. Which is great. So let's take a look at how this compares to 2022. All else being equal, if everything continues as expected, you would imagine that basically every demographic would do worse in this election for Dems than they did in 2018. Because 2018 was supposed to be the big blue wave in the midterms. This was supposed to be the big red wave. So what do we actually get? Well, what we're seeing right here, from left to right, the blue line represents Dem support, red Republican support, and where it's at between these two times. So for both men and women, Republican support went up, Democrat support went down. This is to be expected. The reason for that, again, is because the conditions in 2018 were ones favorable to Dems, and the conditions in 2022 were ones favorable to Republicans. You would expect an average, slant there. I see people in chat making fun of women, but I don't know if we're looking at the same image. Men skewed Republican both times. Women skewed Democrat both times. Men are consistently worse voters in this country than women are by a significant amount. Just making sure we're all looking at the same graph here. By age. Now, obviously, the older you get, the more likely you are to vote red. The 30 to 44-year-old demographic saw the greatest shift here from Dem plus 19 to Dem plus 4 between 18 and 22. Pretty significant shift. The other demographics, not so much. We see a 7-point drop for the young people, a 9-point drop for the pretty old people, and then a 10-point drop for the very old people. By race, ethnicity, and gender, white men, pretty much where you'd expect. White women, pretty much where you'd expect. Black men and black women demonstrating once more their sort of innate superiority, at least in terms of whatever genes make you make good voting decisions. So that's cool. This is the most shocking change right here. Latino men were almost split 50-50 between Dems and Republicans in 2022. This is a 21-point drop. Latino women had a 14-point drop, which is still pretty bad compared to the mean. For Latino men, 21. That is a lot. Just positing a little theory here, but we've seen this before with the Italians and the Irish, which is if you have a minority group that's not treated well and considered a different race, they kind of get brought into whiteness, oftentimes based on a shared opposition to the greater racial underclass in America, which would be black people. We've insisted on keeping them the ultimate racial underclass. So there are plenty of Latin people who are white passing. We don't even necessarily count Hispanic as a different ethnicity. There are white Hispanic people in America. Our census has already acknowledged that for decades. It may well be the case that the Republicans are trying to leverage what it means to be a real American as a kind of adjacency to white supremacy. This is not the first time this has happened. How do you prove you're an American? Well, the Republican might say, you need to hate illegals and you need to participate in all the systems of explicit and implicit white supremacy, and maybe we'll treat you like one of us, This has happened, it happened with the Italians and the Irish, who were discriminated against as a separate ethnic group, but when they were given the opportunity to move out of the tenements of New York and distinguish themselves from the black people who they used to live alongside, Yes, Latino is a very wide category. Still, something worth keeping in mind. Urban voters had a 16-point bent, which is not great. Suburban voters only had a 6-point drop, which is not as much as other demographics here. The suburban areas are disproportionately Democrat-leaning relative to previous estimates. The economic shift here is to be expected. Obviously, if you're a person of color or educated, you are more likely to vote Democrat, blah, blah, blah. Wonderful, wonderful. this information is not particularly shocking. Save the fact that people who have a favorable view of neither party are overwhelmingly more likely to vote Republican, which tracks because the kind of people who would take a look at a, you know, like liberal party and a fascist party and go, they both suck, are probably themselves at least fascist sympathetic. The classic centrist dilemma right there. Phenomenal stuff. Very great. What else do I have here in the open tabs? We've got this dipshit. I don't know if you guys caught wind of this, but the only reason the red wave didn't turn out is because a decent number of young people showed up to vote. The 18 to 29 demographic came out in like 26 points for Democrats. I mean, like a huge, huge, huge. Yeah, that's you guys. That's you. That's you guys. Literally, though. Yeah, PV22. All them fine folks who canvassed and phone banked and what have you. That's you guys. And you voting, you know? Yes. Student debt relief. It's actually good politics. Because people like it when you do good things. More hard-hitting political analysis coming up soon, okay? The Florida sweep here really is quite remarkable. Look at this. How votes compare with 2020. In Miami County, in 2020, it went +7 Democrat. Now DeSantis +11. Palm Beach, Democrat +13 to DeSantis +3. Hillsborough, D +9 to DeSantis, D +7 to DeSantis +9. The whole way through. I think if you look through this, you'll not find a single place where DeSantis did not do better than one would expect from looking at the results of the 2020 election, county by county. Republicans are moving there. That's true. I saw somebody say this, and I think it's perfectly valid. Now that we just need to accept the Cubans that live in Florida, stop trying to appeal to them, and the embargo on Cuba. There's literally no reason to keep it up now that every Cuban fucking expat in Florida is like a card-carrying fucking Nazi. You know, as long as all the Cubans have already decided to fucking cleanse the world to pave way for the master race, then we might as well not like continue this ridiculous embargo, just in the hopes that they'll stop being mad at us. Ohio is also a lost case for Democrats. Tim Ryan got destroyed in the Senate race there. Yeah, I didn't expect J.D. Vance to do that well, but yeah, Ohio does not seem to be a swing state anymore, whereas PA seems to be more reliably left-leaning. It's not just Cubans, but wealthy Latinos and Venezuelans that went to Miami. Yeah, well, that probably contributes a decent amount to the Republican Latin vote. Wait, do you believe that all Florida Cubans are expats from Castro's regime? Well, not now. The expat stuff was like 70 years ago, so a lot of them are their children, and like other people. It definitely contributes significantly to the political disposition of Cubans in Florida, though, yeah. Not like every single one of them. I didn't literally mean they're all card-carrying Nazis, but like, oh man, Florida. Florida. You don't want me to say unkind things about the political disposition of Florida, then maybe they shouldn't be jerking themselves raw, getting, casting their votes for the like primo fascist guy moving forward in this country, you know? They could always not do that. Dems game trifectas in 4 states, including Michigan, hasn't happened in 40 years. Yeah, we got a lot more local voter turnout, which is really, really awesome. That is 4 more states that if Moore v. Harper goes through, those state legislators are not going to come out and immediately pass laws to just annul democracy within their borders. So that's good, you know? How do you think Nevada's going to swing? It's a tight race. I think Nevada will go to us, but, you never know, right? Regarding Latino shift towards the GOP, Hispanic media really drops the ball with their messaging. Univision, Telemundo, and other Hispanic-oriented news channels only ever talk about immigration, nothing else. Unfortunately, a lot of legal Hispanics here hate illegals. Well, a lot of it is the, like, survivorship bias thing. Like, well, if I got here legally, then what about these guys, you know? And also, like, let's be clear. Democrats fucking suck at talking to minorities. They do. the mainstream Democratic establishment feels like they don't have to do anything for black people because black people are so solidly in their camp anyway. And for Latin people, do you guys remember Hillary Clinton's like "I'm your abuela, I always carry this bottle of hot sauce with me"? That was like pure psychic damage, man. That's a bigger deal than a lot of you fucking gringos give it credit for, you know? Can you imagine being like a Hispanic guy in America and like the front runner Dem candidate is like it's like, "Ah, yeah, I'm like your hot sauce. Oh, mama. Hachi." Hillary Clinton did all this on TV. It's pretty embarrassing, you know? Vaush and Jill Biden referred to Latinos as tacos. I'm always doing this. Joe Biden apologizes for calling Latino community unique as the breakfast tacos in San Antonio. Ah, yes. That's why I love Black America as firm and resounding as a deep fried country steak. I don't know, something. Just imagine another racist thing here. That was funny though. Don't get me wrong, it is funny, but at the same time, can you understand why a lot of Latin people might feel kind of patronized too? Because it feels like the only messaging the Democrats are really willing to consistently, you know, push their way. At least Republicans are offering them some kind of out, right? You know, Republicans, the Faustian bargain with Republicans is basically, hey, if you join us in being really fucking racist, we might consider you white. That sucks, but that is something. That's at least an outreach strategy. Democrats are, I don't know. As a Latino teen in 2016, Hillary's hot sauce comments were instrumental in pushing me to the right wing pipeline. I fucking hate Hillary so much, dude. Holy shit. And the timeline where Hillary Clinton lost to Bernie in 2016 is a timeline where right now Florida is like a utopian blue state. Wasn't Bernie liked under Latino voters? They loved him. They fucking loved Bernie. Bernie Sanders was insanely popular with Latin voters in a way that Hillary never was, not even close. The insane thing is that, like, black people tend to vote more establishment Democrat candidates for complicated reasons that I've gotten into before. There were a lot of people during the primaries who were like, well, since black people seem to favor Hillary Clinton more, maybe that means that Bernie isn't viable, ignoring the fact that those black people would not have abstained from the fucking election if Bernie had won the primary. They still would have voted for Bernie because they're very consistent voters on average. Whereas the Latin people that Bernie did get did not all come out and vote for Hillary. So he captured a new demographic. Yeah. Sorry. This was all 6 years ago. I'm being pulled back into like the time before it all went wrong. I worked on the Bernie campaign in Texas. We flipped the southern border blue. Yeah. Apparently, Beto O'Rourke actually got like the border counties in Texas pretty blue as well. So 2016 was 6 years ago. Yes, that is true. We do a 2015 nostalgia stream? No. Also, nostalgia's dumb. All points in time have sucked. Have the strength of will to understand this. Vaush, it's wild. I get this as a Democratic district, but my state house candidate did not campaign, but a Republican opponent was going hard. She won by like 1%. Palm Beach Dems are old and complacent. I'm hoping they step aside, or at least weak enough to be forced. Yeah, Democrat complacency. Yeah. Democrats are like, the energy of Democrats just can't match the like QAnon-fueled, every Republican thinks that FEMA death camps will be erected to kill all Christians and blah, 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 blah. So what can we do for Florida? Hudson the Gamer? Nothing. I'm sorry. I'm not here to sell you bullshit. Nothing. Forget about it. You kidding me? It's the stronghold right now for the modern Republican. Listen, just let the hurricanes take care of it, okay? God is already trying to sink Florida. God doesn't need any help. Let it go. Let it go. Sorry, you want like kind words from me? What if I live in Florida? Don't write me off. I'm not writing you off, dipshit. I'm writing Florida off. Think you can do anything about it unless circumstances change enormously, then I don't think anything's gonna change there. I mean, like some significant stuff would have to change for it to even be remotely viable. Maybe you should get out of Florida, if you can. Just I'm about to be hit by a hurricane tomorrow, Vaush. Well, there you go. Are you in Florida?
Gotta know it.
Seems like a self-solving problem. be fair, the Democrats ran horrible candidates. Well, it's the Democrats. Is this a jab at Destiny? Since Destiny lives in fucking Florida? Jesus Christ, the man, he went mad a while ago. I guess that's just a symptom. Florida. Okay. Thought he lived in LA or Texas or something. Am I correct to believe the just move argument only applies to Florida? No. The just move argument is a way of dismissing real solutions to a problem by saying, oh, simply do not be where the problem is. I don't have any solutions for Florida. I'm not ignoring anything. If any of you have any brilliant political strategies for flipping a state that is not only deeply red, but getting more red with time, and also is currently procuring the next fucking, Führer of the United States, if you have any suggestions there, then I don't know, take it with Biden. Go mail Biden. Because I don't think it's gonna happen there. It's not good. It's not good. What do you think of the likelihood of Warnock defeating Walker in the runoff? Yeah, another fucking Georgia extra election. This is going to be like the curse every year, okay? We get to have Warnock and Ossoff. However, we need to expend like $50 billion and a quarter of our lifespan just propping them up, just like holding them aloft like Atlas, you know? Georgia will remain blue if we give everything we have to keep it that way, you know? I guess we'll see, won't we? They're really close. Dylan Burns is heading to Georgia to help the runoff. Man, Dylan is such a goddamn giga chad. Is DeSantis going to be the next president 100%? Again, Moore v. Harper is really like the deciding factor here. If everything goes as I expect it will with Moore v. Harper, then DeSantis is going to be the likely presidential win in 2024. Though a lot of stuff could change, and a lot of factors can't really be accounted for. The Uvalde results are painful. Hell yeah, that's what yes. That's that Americana I like to see. Update, voters in Uvalde County, where the state's deadliest mass shooting happened 5 months ago, and sparked calls for change in Texas government and gun reform, voted 22% in favor of Governor Greg Abbott over Beto O'Rourke, 60 to 38% final votes. That right there, that's Americana. That's perfect. It's beautiful. You capture that misery, but the people... Where's that clip? I should really have this just as like a sound effect. I really should. I have one of those like gamer button pads.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
So true, King. So true. Yeah, he phrases it so delicately. I love it. It never gets old. That guy was a lunatic. Yeah. I'm just surprised we found a politician worse than Hillary. Beto O'Rourke couldn't win an election for class president. Oh, don't you dare slander my man Beto like that. I don't even like the guy, but putting him under Hillary? Oh, no. Beto is overconfident and really should not have gone so hard in the gun stuff, but you'd have to put in some work to be worse than Hillary. Have you not seen the dancing video? What are you talking about? Dancing? I'm white. I don't know what dancing is. Calm down. Beto O'Rourke is an L-bro. Don't hold him up, Vaush. It's that bad. I'm not holding him up. I just think Hillary's worse than him by a large margin.
While Candace is here, I feel like I can count on you to be with me about impeaching Biden immediately.
I am 100% on board to Biden immediately.
Candace already impeached him. I just have one. I don't want to get too caught up on technicalities. For what?
Don't be ridiculous. It's a ridiculous question. Doesn't matter. Just impeach him.
Impeach him and we'll figure it out afterwards.
You got to impeach him to find out what you impeach.
That's exactly how it works.
Why do you guys want Kamala Harris so bad?
Honestly, I do. I think I do. Like I said before, I didn't.
I mean, they're being honest, right? It's just about raw political power. You know, there doesn't have to be a reason. You know, it's just that's it, right? Yeah, the cigars, I feel so much pain. Does anyone else, like, holy, this is, like, so embarrassing to look at. Like, Michael Knowles is like this wet diaper stuffed into a suit, and he's, like, deep-throating the end of, like, they just, whenever I get the whole, like, guy trying on his dad's, like, boy trying on his dad's clothes vibe from somebody who does shit like this, I don't get it. Yeah, they're trying so hard to look masculine, you know? Like Matty Walsh, Matty W does the same thing because he literally just looks like a soy Wojak. Um, at least he's like trying to do the confident lean, you know, because you can see he's putting effort into this, right? You know, Michael over here is being bold and daring with one leg crossed, but then Matt's going hard with one leg crossed plus leaning on one elbow against the arm of the chair. It's very masculine, yes. No, I don't want to play the Michael Knowles acting compilation. Isn't it crazy how Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro are sitting right here next to each other when, like, 5 days ago, Candace Owens was praising Max Blumenthal's, like, open Jewish question posting, and Ben Shapiro was like, can we not do that? And Candace Owens was like, can you not be rude? It's just a little JQ posting. Like, come on. The funny thing is they probably hate each other, Lamau. Oh, that's conservative commentators for you, right? They're all like women. They're so catty. What do you think will happen with the AZ governor's race? AZ governor's race. AZ governor's race. Who gives a fuck? Listen, what about the fucking Oregon governor race? Oh my God. I live next to these people. And because of this stupid third-party split, 68% reporting. God almighty. We're 2% in favor for the Dem. Betsy Johnson, Cuxy Cuxon, more like 8.8% of the vote. What does this person even represent? Besides looking like a librarian. Maybe they're pro-book. Considered a moderate and conservative member of the state legislature. Wait, are they stealing votes from the conservatives? Wait, how bad is it over in Oregon? Oh, God. Remember what I said before about Oregon being 2 cities that are blue and then a state that's red? Remember when I said that? Look at this shit. Jesus Christ. It's all that's why I say it's why I don't support the fucking Oregon gun law, you know? Because all the people out here fucking already own guns. They're just getting ready to invade Portland when somebody rings the bell. Isn't that every state though? Especially Oregon. Trust me, especially Oregon, okay? Oregon is uniquely like that. Filled with Nazi cults. Oregon barely outlawed slavery. Yeah. Tennessee outlawed slavery. That's nice. I believe that makes them the 4th state to do this. So only 46 more states to go, and we'll finally be rid of slavery in the United States. Yeah, here we go. Alabama, Tennessee, Vermont, Oregon remove slavery loopholes from constitutions. Louisiana does not. So Louisiana wants to keep the slavery. So that's cool, you know. Wait, the 14th Amendment? Yeah, see, slavery's legal in America. As long as they're a prisoner. Then it's legal. 13th, sorry. Mix the two up. Yeah. The amendment specifically says that. Neither slavery nor indentured servitude, except as punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. I love my Constitution. I love our Constitution. It's so great. Let's abolish slavery. But, like, maybe it's okay if, like, they smoked some weed or, like, shoplifted a Snickers bar. Yeah, okay. Slavery a go-go. How else are we going to get people to die of smoke inhalation while fighting California forest fires? Huh? See this GOP going apeshit at younger people? I feel like going apeshit might be a bit of an overstatement. Yes, I'm familiar with Bridget Gabriel's tweets because Gen Z did very well for us, which is nice. I do like how for the past like 5 or 6 years, I've had to hear every single year I hear this from you guys. I hear this from everyone. Gen Z is finally fed up with woke nonsense. I hear this all the young people are finally shifting right. Take a look at this one TikTok where a guy makes a joke about women with purple hair, and then you take a look at every fucking bit of data we have available, and young people are overwhelmingly progressive and left-leaning compared to every other group. It's like, okay, never mind. Just the same fake news ass story every 18 fucking minutes. Weed is now legal in Missouri and Maryland. Yeah, good stuff there. Does that mean Democrats have a better future if younger generations are overwhelmingly Dem-leaning? Well, it's not bad. Yes, the first Gen Z person. This guy is on the Justice Dems list, isn't he? First Gen Z person in the House. Chillin', younger than me. Frost, 25. Beat Republican Calvin Wimbish, a retired 72-year-old Army Green Beret. Ha, get loser. Ha ha. Go re-enlist. Go fall off a landing vessel as you're sent to go murk some former insurgent. Dipshit. Loser. What is this other thing? What's the other thing that I was looking at? Are you Gen Z or young millennial? Technically, I'm a young millennial. Can we beat the fash simply by outliving boomers? No. That copium's been around for decades, and it just don't work. I do not recommend that. I want to see if there are any people who are getting real normal in the comments of the YouTube video that I recorded while drunk last night. Just a second. Any people here being exceptionally normal? Vaush last night, renew your passport, be ready to flee the country from the authoritarian regime. Vaush now, everything went quite well. No! These aren't contradicting statements. No, don't fall for it. No, don't, wow, we didn't completely lose the legislator overnight. I guess all that other stuff that Vaush mentioned is null now. Stop. Last night, Vaush, get your passports ready. Today, Vaush, Lamau feeling cute, my dear. No! Oh, they don't get it. I specifically said that the conditions are laid out in the media apparatus in the Supreme Court. I was so insistent that we've only bought time. I kept saying, even if things go well, we've only bought time. You guys are like fucking climate change deniers, where I say the planet's warming up and you're like, then why is it snowing outside? Oh my God, 680 likes? Seriously? Watched most of the stream last night. I looked at the process of getting a passport, looked up jobs in Canada. Got an appointment on Saturday. See, somebody's taking this shit seriously. Maybe that's it. Thank you for reinforcing my pessimistic and fatalistic doomerism about the future despite this wonderful night for Democrats by reminding me of the apocalypse. Hey, Shu. I'm gonna keep repeating this shit. I'm gonna make sure everyone knows. It seems some chatters don't realize having valid passports is just a good thing to have. I can't, yeah, do you think people without college degrees are if I have about 25K in saving and a passport, are my prospects good? I can't answer that. That's you have 25K in saving? No, I can't answer that. I can't answer that. How is we bought time different from the inevitability you call doomerism? Okay, we're going to do this one more time. Doomerism is a mentality counterproductiveness. It's withdrawing from the situation to preserve your emotional state. It's distancing yourself from it, okay? Recognizing unfortunate occurrences or probabilities is not being doomer. And saying that we've bought time is not saying we can do nothing. For instance, you can make the radical decision to live. And sometimes, in worst case scenarios, living might require a little bit of extra effort on your part, you know? Life gets complicated sometimes. I'm only saying you have to recognize, tell me, does barely holding on to, maybe barely holding on to the Senate, does that fix the problems that I talked about? Does that change the fact that portions of the country are skewing heavily Republican? Does that change the gerrymandering? Does that change the Electoral College? Does that change the conservative Supreme Court or Moore v. Harper? Does it change any of these things? Does it change the fact that there was an assassination attempt and the third person in line to the presidency just a week ago, and Republicans immediately responded by making a joke of it, indicating not only that they don't care that it happens, but they want it to happen again and more successfully? Does that change any of this? Oh, guys, more like a red fart. No reason for us to, do some basic personal upkeep like making sure our passport's up to date, something you should have been doing anyway, you children. Oh, no. No. We're fine. Rather than doing miserably these midterms, instead we only barely held on by the thread of our sleeve. We're in a great position. Please. Nobody knows the future. But it doesn't hurt to prepare for possible negative outcomes. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Vaush, then are you conceding it's impossible to save American democracy? No. I never said that. I'm saying keep your passport up to date. Vaush, I love you, but you sound like Sean after the French election right now. I don't know what to do. I don't have enough brain cells to fully deal with this. Vaush, I think a lot of people might not realize you're talking about a contingency strategy and not telling people to flee. Yeah, I'm not telling anyone to flee. I'm saying to keep your passport up to date. Maybe look into other. Okay, you know how your parents said you should always keep like a tire jack and a spare in your car? Now I've done that my entire adult life. You know how many times I've needed to use it? 0 times. I have never in my life used a tire jack outside of somebody telling me, here's how you use a tire jack. I've never used it in a practical situation. Maybe I never will. But I don't regret having it. Have I ever defended myself against a burglary or anything like that? No. But I own 9 guns. Clearly, I am someone who values preparation as a concept. It's not a bad thing to believe in. Have a flashlight in case there's an earthquake. Have water in your garage or storage area in case something goes wrong. Have canned beans. It's good to prepare. And having your passport updated is something that you could do. If I say, hey, keep a spare and a tire jack in your car, am I saying to you that you have no way of preventing a flat tire? That you can't drive more responsibly, avoid the sharp nails or whatever on the road, that you can't avoid getting into an accident or making sure your tires are upkept so that they don't ever get flat? No, you can still address the situation in a variety of ways, and I can't predict the future, but it is good to make sure. And I have made 2 simple recommendations. Good advice under any circumstances. I will continue to insist on this. I will insist on this until it is no longer funny. I will run out of synonyms with which to describe these suggestions. You will tire of hearing me. I will repeat it over and over. It will get boring to you, but I insist. Save money and make sure your passport is renewed. That's it. Derive from those suggestions any degree of implicit pessimism you like. It's a good thing to have no matter what. Please. Okay. I understand nuance and makes sense to be prepared, but no one has given a solution for preventing fascism. If I had one, I would give it to you. Would you rather I abstain from providing solutions to keep you alive? Should I not give you some good advice until I have all good advice? You furiously overestimate my intelligence. If I had a solution to the rising tide of fascism, I'm sure I would let you know. Do you think there is a solution, or are you saying you specifically don't have it? There's always a theoretical solution. There are potential solutions, but I know what you guys are thinking. Oh, Pepe posting? Ooh, TOS? No. because that's not going to make a difference. Whenever I say I think it's valuable to be prepared for the worst, that preparation is about survival. Because survival in adversarial circumstances is a victory. Survival when people in power want you gone is a victory. You're winning when you stay around. Even if sometimes it means having to leave or hide who you are for short periods of time or be deceptive. Living when the odds are against you is admirable. You want to know what really could be done? It would come down to the Democratic Party and the Army. You have no control over it. And if you'll recall, all the streams of mine that you have watched, at any point, no matter what, whenever I talk about this, what do I say? The principled ownership of firearms can be useful in case militias ever attack you or the people in your community. And the best way to prevent that from happening is to know the people around you. Engage in community preparedness. You might note that what I am describing here is not a fascism prevention strategy. It's a fascism survival strategy. The world is a hell of a lot bigger than what can we do to stop this from happening? I'm not the president, and neither are any of you. If Biden wanted to, he could take actions to significantly reduce the likelihood all of this happening. The military, as always, has the ultimate authority in deciding the future of this country. We don't control these systems. I am trying to give you guys advice that is scaled to the listener. You are just people. I am just people. So when I suggest things, I'm trying to suggest things that are actionable, understandable, and reasonable. Because otherwise, I mean, if you guys want like a bullshit lefty answer, okay. Through community organizing and by radicalizing the working class, by spreading class consciousness, fascism will never prevail against the American working people's combined efforts to promote socialist action within the United States. We are living in an era of unprecedented class consciousness, as evidenced by some articles I read on people unionizing at Starbucks. And the tide of history turns towards us forevermore. And take heart, comrade. It could never happen here.